threes and found some gold.
Yeah. All right, guys, what's going on? We're on Facebook Live, coming to you from the KSAT 12 studios, talking Spurs.
Ooh.
Where are the San Antonio Commanders? We have not seen them for weeks.
They come in for a couple of days and then they leave.
Yeah, and then a little bit of high school hoops here.
How about the high school hoops, huh?
Yeah, first of all, and we're taking your comments, of course, on Facebook Live, KSAT 12's Facebook page, so I'll be monitoring that right now on my laptop that I got here. So, David, first of all, thoughts on the Spurs, man?
Spurs blow their rodeo road trip, go 1-7, come home and win 3 in a row, and they were like Spur-like performances.
Right.
I mean, they weren't like eking out some wins. There were some. You could say they eked out the win against Denver last night, but I'd say there were some pretty solid wins.
Right.
Solid performances on the defensive end, which is what they tried to do. They beat 2 of the top 3 teams in the West,
right, as
they sit at number 8. So that says something about where they are and the direction they are now heading.
And also beat a pretty good Detroit team that's won a bunch of games. I mean, Detroit
they're in the playoff picture
in the Eastern Conference. Detroit, I think, has even moved up to 6th place in the Eastern Conference. So the Spurs right now sitting at 8th place. They're a half game behind the Clippers. That's because the Clippers have one more win than the Spurs do. Clippers apparently in pretty good shape. Seems like they have taken care of the Lakers. The Lakers, I think, are going to be long
bad
gone.
Shape. Yeah, they're done. Goodbye, LeBron. Yeah. Everybody wave goodbye to LeBron. Will he play a lot the rest of the year?
That's a good question. Is he even playing nowadays? How
much is he gonna play? But goodbye, LeBron. See you. Nice seeing you.
So the Spurs again. They are now sitting in 8th place right now. 3-game winning streak. We will see if that can translate to the road. They now take on the Atlanta Hawks, a team that has been playing a lot better. I have a young star, Trae Young. You know what I mean? No. Trae Young's been doing a lot better. Trae Young, DeMar talked about that a little bit during the postgame last night, so we will see what the Spurs can do on the road. But I think some interesting things about the Spurs, David. Jakob Poeltl. Big difference right now as far as him coming into the starting lineup.
3 starts, 3 wins.
Yeah. That's pretty good,
I'm just saying. Well, Jakob Poeltl is one of the things. Rudy Gay coming off the bench is another one. As long as he gets his free throws down the stretch, he'll be okay. He's coming off the bench, and the communication on their defense is so much better. Of course, they are at home, and we'll see if they can pack that up and take it with them on the road to Atlanta. But the communication on the defense has gotten so much better, and I like the way Pop put it the other day. He said it's activity. Yeah. He said we got to start being active on defense. We have to make them adjust to what we're doing instead of our defense adjusting to their offense. And when you look at the Denver game, they did that for most of the game. Yeah. I mean, they were up 21 in the first half. They were up 18 in the fourth quarter of that game, and then Denver just got hot. I mean, let's face it, some teams just get hot, and there's just not a whole lot you can do about it.
And that's something even Popovich said after the game, is that they, for the most part, they were contesting those shots, and Denver was just hitting some crazy shots down the stretch. Now, the Spurs could have probably made some plays on the offensive end there towards, to kind of ice the game. Rudy Gay missed a couple of free throws, missed a couple of rebounds as well. He kind of joked about it after the game, saying that he just wanted the team to get some extra practice, right? But still a little too close for comfort.
When you watch the Spurs tomorrow night take on Atlanta, watch Jakob Poeltl. Now, he's in the starting rotation right now. It depends on matchups. Pop told us yesterday, for the most part, he'd like to keep him in the starting. He'd like to keep these starting 5 together. But there's always a possibility that matchups may dictate that he goes small and put Jakob on the bench and have him come off the bench with the second team. But just watch this kid play. I mean, the fundamentals are there. He's always crashing the boards. He seems to be in the right place at the right time most of the time. I mean, he's still making a couple of mistakes here and there and getting caught here and there. But he's learning how to play with that first team, and that's different when you got DeMar on the floor and you've got LaMarcus on the floor. But just watch this kid and watch how he plays and watch fundamental basketball.
And I actually think he's helped LaMarcus out, especially on the defensive end, and even offensively too. Look at LaMarcus; he was taking a couple of outside shots. I know you're not a big fan of LaMarcus doing that, but I think LaMarcus is getting
some of them are too
pretty,
far
the 3-pointers. But I think LaMarcus is getting comfortable knowing that Jakob is there, especially on the defensive end. So really kind of a rim protector. And so far, so good for the Spurs. They've done a great job here at home during this homestand. Really needed to kind of bounce back after the rodeo road trip. I mean, that was a terrible rodeo road trip.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been a while ago. We don't want to even think about that,
Yeah.
but Spurs look like they've bounced back nicely.
But you bring up the relief he gives LaMarcus, but think about this. He can also be a rim protector, which they haven't really had much consistent rim protecting this year.
Yeah.
So he's back there so the guys can get more aggressive, can take more chances, knowing that Jakob's back there. I mean, it was like, never mind, I'm not going to say it.
Uh-oh.
Well,
wow, okay. Where are you going with that one?
When the Spurs were in their heyday, they always had somebody back there protecting,
Sure.
whether it was Tim
Yeah.
or somebody else.
Right.
Back
Another
there.
big back
Another
there,
big back there.
Yeah.
That could play that
Right.
that role of protecting the rim and play some defense and grab some rebounds.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. I'm not comparing him to any of those guys in the past. I'm
Right.
just saying you can tell the difference when he's on the floor and guys can take more chances. I mean, DeRozan had 2 steals last night in the first quarter.
I know.
You think he would have tried to do that if he knew that Jakob wasn't down there low?
Probably not.
Kind of helping him
Allows him
out
to
when he took the
kinda-
chance to get the steals.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying is these guys can get a little more aggressive, be a little more active because they've got more guys down there to rebound and help them out down low.
Another guy who's been playing really well, Linda Hughes. She writes into us on our Facebook Live. Thank you, Linda, for writing into us. He says, Derek White is doing great, leading the team at point guard. That reaction right there. And I think for Spurs fans, I mean, what a revelation Derek White has been this season. I mean, to come in from the G League last season, I mean, really not a young kid, second year. I mean, even when you hear him in the postgame, he still sounds nervous when he's giving, he's talking to the media. But Derek White has just really been great. Really kind of been a bit of a savior this season. DeJounte goes down, and the Spurs had to turn to Derek. And when he's played, he's done great. Of course, he's had that foot injury. So we're hoping Derek can stay healthy the rest of the way here.
Let's reveal a little bit. We're not giving away too many media secrets or Spurs secrets. But Derek White, after the game against Denver, they let him come into the press conference room where Pop, you guys have seen these interviews 100 times.
Yeah.
Pop comes in the press conference room, and then they usually bring another player in real quick to the press conference room. We all get them, and then we all go in the locker room. Well, they open the door, and one of the PR guys goes, here's Derek White. He just got 9 assists. That is a career high for Derek White. Congratulations. I mean, it was kind of funny, but Derek White's kind of looking around, and everybody's going, 9 assists? Which we were all standing there going, he hadn't had 9 assists yet, but he just got 9 assists. But think about that. He almost had a double last night.
Yeah.
So what did he have? He had I got it right.
He had 14 points.
He had 11 points.
Okay,
and 9 assists.
Yeah.
One more assist. One guy would have made a shot.
Yeah. He would have had a double.
He'd have had a double.
Yeah.
But think about that. Think about where he started. You talk about the G League and the foot injury, and now here he is, passing that thing around, playing like a true point guard.
Yeah.
So,
really,
which also works with everything else.
Yeah, really a bit of a stabilizing factor for the team. I mean, with the way he runs the team and the way that his patience. If you watch the Spurs games and look at the pick and rolls that they do with him, he's always looking for the, like you said, Jakob going into the lane or LaMarcus. He's setting up the offense, and I think, I mean, even going back to the days when Tony was here, I think that was always a big thing about Tony, just getting everyone in the right spots. I think right away that immediately kind of sets you up to be in a pretty good position for offense.
He will, if there's somebody, if DeMar doesn't do it and LaMarcus doesn't do it, then eventually Derek White is going to step up and be the leader because it's a natural spot to be the leader when you're the point guard. Because you're getting everybody in their spots, and I think he can eventually take over that role, and I think he can lead, and I think he can play that Tony Parker role as the leader, not Tony Parker, but he can play that Tony Parker role as the leader on the floor, making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be and doing what they're supposed to be doing because of the talent that he has as that point guard position. And we talk about his defense.
Yeah,
I mean the kid can play some
defense.
I mean they rely on him defensively a lot. So, so thanks for the question. And, yes, Derek White is...
Yeah, Derek White looking great. Linda Hughes, thank you. We also have Anthony Galvan. He's checking in with us from Texarkana.
Whoa!
Yeah, Anthony, we appreciate you,
Spurs, go.
being on our Facebook Live right now on KSAT Toll's Facebook page. Again, the Spurs are on a 3-game winning streak, hitting the road to take on the Atlanta Hawks Wednesday. So a lot of people on our Facebook Live, David, pretty excited. Some people saying that Pirtle will... thrive under Pop's tutelage, which I think we've now seen as the season comes along, which made me think of another point here. This is a long season, and I mean there were so many ups and downs with the Spurs, and not to say that they have been very inconsistent, especially on the road, but you kind of see the progress that these guys are making along the way, and you see that it really is kind of a grind from the start of the season. Remember, they were 11-14.
Yeah.
Their playoff chances were down at they were pretty low at the time, and now Sacramento's 3 games behind. Mm-hmm. The Lakers are pretty much kind of out of it, but for the most part, the Spurs are now just going to be jockeying for position.
Go back to that 5-game winning streak that they had. Remember that? And they were all precarious victories. So it's not like they were beating people up and playing solid basketball on both ends of the floor.
Right.
They weren't.
Yeah.
They were just kind of getting
away with
the
Suns game. Those games.
Well, the one they stole from the Suns.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And then when Pop said they stole that one, the Suns got robbed. Mm-hmm. I think is but look at those 5, or look at that set of wins, and then look at the 3 that they just won and the difference. I mean, these are solid victories.
Yeah.
They're playing some solid basketball, which you would expect from a Pop coach team, and you would expect that after they've been together this long that they finally start figuring it all out. And they still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to get anything but better.
Yeah.
So
well, we'll see, because again, the Western Conference, with the exception of really Golden State, that's the one team you don't want to play in the first round. But we've seen the Spurs now play the Nuggets pretty well. The Nuggets are the 2 seed. You mentioned they beat Oklahoma City on Saturday, a team that they've also beaten a couple times this year. So I feel like the Spurs can pretty much match up against everyone. It's just the road games that have kind of been
they've got victories against everybody in the West. Yeah. Everybody that's in the playoff
Portland,
picture, they've got
Houston,
to win against them.
Yeah.
So and the way they're playing now, bring them on. But they still have a ways to go. They still get a lot better and still get the momentum going into that first round. So we'll see. Hopefully they can get at least. I'm not even. I don't even think they can. What am I trying to say? I think they can still get to 6. Is what I'm trying to say.
They can because they're a game behind Utah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they can get up to 6.
And those are 2 in the loss column.
Right.
So they both have the same number of wins, but Utah has 2 less losses because they played 2 less games.
I think either we're looking at a first-round matchup versus Denver or possibly Oklahoma City, the way it's kind of shaping up right now. So a lot of people chiming in on our Facebook Live mentioned Juan Tristan. He's saying DeMar DeRozan has done well also. We saw DeMar kind of hit that sort of a little bit of a wall and then he's sort of come back to become a little bit.
And he got that technical last night, and that kind of upset him a little bit.
Yeah, he was fired up.
He fired away after that. Like, whoa.
He was fired up after that one.
Might have been thanking that referee. What does a technical cost now? It used to be like $250. It's like a waste of time.
Yeah, interesting. That was DeMar DeRozan's 8th technical of the season.
Whoa,
8 technical. I can't remember a guy who's gotten that many technicals with the Spurs in a while.
There's that many. I knew there's several, but I didn't realize it was 8.
He's got 8 technicals, which I think is a career high for him. Right now, the leaders are like Draymond Green, Russell Westbrook. They all have like 13.
But let's face it, he doesn't get the calls he should.
He doesn't. No, he really doesn't.
I mean, he got knocked clean out of the lane last night, and it's like he's laying on the floor going, "Where's?" And that's when he got the technical. Where's the foul?
All right. So, anything else about the Spurs, David? Before we move on, do you want to talk Commanders?
Interesting stretch for the Spurs. Atlanta tomorrow night, and then they come home and take on Milwaukee. And by the way, if you look in the standings, Milwaukee already has a little X by. Is either an X or a Y for this one. Yeah. They got the X by the name. They're already in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they're good, but they're a tough team. So it'll be fun. They got a fun. And then it's Dallas.
Right, at Dallas. So a couple interesting games there.
I think the next 5 of 7 are at home. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Yeah. So they got a good stretch, but they can definitely do it.
Milwaukee, the return of Pau Gasol.
Well, that's right. Wow.
You think they're going to have a video for him?
They may not have time to put it together. We were in the locker room last night, and where Pau Gasol's locker is, just a little blank slate.
I didn't even notice that.
There.
That's interesting. I did not notice that.
The light was on, but no one was home.
Yeah.
Because the name was gone. It's like, wow. Poor Pau.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. I loved him.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was always good to talk to.
Yeah, he was just kind of just out of the rotation pretty much. So
it's kind of like the circle of life. It happens because the young guy comes along and pushes the old guy out.
Yeah,
and there you go. What are you gonna do?
That's the case.
And that's exactly what Jakob Poeltl started taking all that playing time, and Powell was like, well.
Yeah, Linda Hughes also brings up a good point. Drew Eubanks even got into the game yesterday at the end of the first quarter.
At the end of the first quarter?
Yeah, we were some people like, wait, this guy's been on the roster all season.
2 free throws, and then he got the block right at the
Yeah.
end of the quarter.
Yeah.
People were going nuts.
Yeah.
It's like his teammates were going crazy.
Yeah.
And that was it. He was done.
That's
Another funny. I'm not giving away. He cleaned up around his locker. Nobody cleans up around their locker. That's how young that kid is. He's like picking up towels and cleaning up, straightening up everything. I'm like, what's he doing?
Interesting.
I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway,
it's interesting.
I mean, I'm giving away the secrets.
All right,
up.
so Pau Gasol chiming in, classy guy, definitely one of the, as we said, one of the class acts across the NBA. So, moving on a little bit from Spurs.
Because speaking of going on the road, has anybody
Commanders.
seen the Commanders? Do we know where they are? Have they lost?
The Commanders are now 2-2. They won over the weekend in Birmingham. They previously unbeaten Birmingham Iron. Yeah, they won 12-11. An interesting game. I was watching this thing on Sunday, and a lot of so I'm going to criticize the league a little bit, and I've liked the play so far, but when they get into the red zone, my Lord, these teams are struggling to score touchdowns, and you can really see kind of the difference in quarterbacks when they get into the red zone, because that's when you have to make those tight throws, you have to make quick decisions, and they're moving the ball in between.
That's why they're in the AAF and not in the NFL.
That's true. That is true.
That's why you see it. When you run 6 plays and get stopped 6 times.
You saw this.
And you can't get...
You saw this. They were in the goal. They were like in the 5 or inside the 5.
Yeah.
They ran 3 plays, got a penalty, come back. Yeah,
that's what I say. That's why you're in the AAF trying to get to the NFL, or you've been there and you're back here.
Right.
Because of things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Love the defense. Defense is pretty good.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But, meh.
Yeah. It's been. It's a little bit of a slog right now. I mean, they.
And yet 12 points in that league. That's.
Yeah. It's a little rough, and not even the Commanders and the Iron the other day. I mean, they great defense. They stopped Trent Richardson, former Bama guy who was leading the AAF in touchdowns. But
the Iron didn't even score till the end of the game. I mean, Trent didn't score till like no time left on the game.
Right.
Now you got to admit the onside kick replacement rule is pretty good.
It's interesting. Yeah.
No onside kick. You got to go for it in 28 yards or whatever it is. Yeah. It's kind of different. I'm still
just getting used to the scoring. I think the 12s, the 11s are a little weird. The 8s
messing up a lot of guys in Vegas, aren't they?
I mean, I don't even know how that old like squares game where you get squares or something like that. That just must be throwing all sorts of numbers all the way around. But the Commanders are now 2-2 in the Western Division of the AAF, and they are going to be on the road again. They don't return till March 23rd.
In Arizona, right?
I believe so. Yes, I'm going to have to double check that.
There's 3 teams in the West that are 2-2, and there's 1 team in the East that is 4-0, and that's Orlando.
Right. Yes.
I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So
Orlando's doing well. Yeah.
They're in the because there's only 4 at the end.
Right. Yeah.
So two from each.
Yes.
So that is right in the playoff hunt.
So they're in the mix. So, I mean, if they could get another victory here on the road, come back here and be at home at the Alamo Dome where the support has been pretty unbelievable for them, then I think they'll be in good shape to make the playoffs. Here.
So why are they on the road so much, you ask? Well,
that's a big question.
Right here. This is it right here. We had to make room for our first girls basketball state championship team to bring home the trophy. They didn't have to bring it very far. Yeah. Because they were in the Alamo Dome. But how about those Judson Rocket girls?
Unbelievable. It was their 3rd straight trip to the UIL Final Four. Finally get it done. 3rd time's a charm. They beat a really good DeSoto team. I mean, you look at the Dallas area girls teams, DeSoto, Duncanville. Those teams have always won these tournaments, and they always beat the San Antonio Metro team in this round or in the championship game. So congrats to the Lady Rockets. I mean, just an unbelievable feat. First girls team, like you said, largest classification.
And they've been watching the Spurs because apparently 3rd quarters are no good for anybody. Because they lost the lead. They had the lead the first half. They lost in the 3rd quarter. And then they came back out in the 4th quarter and won it. So that sounds about right.
Right. Yeah. So
when you think about San Antonio team, what does the Spurs do? They lose the lead in the third quarter a lot of times, but no, congratulations.
Congrats to them.
That's a great feat,
Kerrville Tivy made the Final Four as well, fell a little bit short, but congrats to the Antlers as well. And
Poteet was in there too, right?
There we go. Yeah, we have a couple of other teams, the boys now.
So you want to know where the Commanders will be this set? It won't be here because we got a chance for 3 teams.
3 teams, 3 San Antonio area teams. That's right.
So it's Wagner and Steele and Cole. And it happens to be the 30th, and if I'm not mistaken, the 30th anniversary of the Cole championship with who?
With Shaq. I was going to ask you about that. Did you cover Shaq when you were here?
I covered Shaq when he was in high school.
Wow.
I sure did.
Give me a good Shaq story.
Here's a good Shaq story.
Right.
This is the best Shaq story
I need a great Shaq story because Shaq, of course, was here at Cole High School.
Right. Shaq played 2 years at Cole High School, and then he went to LSU.
Yes.
When he decided to sign at LSU, we went over to Cole, went on post to get an interview with him at his house.
Yes.
So we set up outside the yard. Now, Shaq is still tall, but back then he was a little lighter.
A little bit slimmer.
Just a little bit slimmer. Not much than he is now, but just a little slimmer.
Right.
But anyway, so we go over there to do an interview with him. Cole championship. Now you're going off to LSU.
Right.
So we're standing in the yard, and he puts his hand. We're just talking, and he puts his hand. Some of y'all might have seen this before. We talked about this. He puts his hand on my head, and the palm of his hand is on the crown of my head, and his fingers are down here.
Wow.
And I'm going, please do not squeeze and turn because you'll be doing the interview by yourself. I will be on the ground with a broken neck. I mean, that's how big. I mean, that was just, and that, you know, I shaken his hand before, but it's like, holy smokes, dude, how big is that hand? But that's, and then
he was a junior or senior at the time. He was a senior. Oh, because you said he had just committed to LSU.
He had committed to LSU, so just going to LSU. So, but no, he was.
So did you get to meet his dad? Also?
Met his dad.
Okay, cool. Because I heard his dad. his dad was a big influence on him, and that's why Shaq was always kind of the guy he is.
We could talk days about that. Shaq was a big teddy bear. Shaq. One more quick one, and then we'll go. Shaq is the only professional athlete I ever saw get in a city's head. You know how athletes can get another athlete's head? You know, just drive them nuts, do all that talking and yakking. Shaq could get into San Antonio's head. He could just get into this city's head. It was kind of funny to watch. It was like, oh my God, here he goes. Just saying stuff about San Antonio, saying stuff about David Robinson turning down for an autograph. That never happened, and he'll tell you it never happened. But it was a marketing. He was great at that stuff. But he was a good guy. He really was. He was funny.
Shaq, one of the all-time greats, and
he's come back to Cole several times. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sends something, like a little message to him or something before the game because it's the 30th anniversary.
That'd be interesting to watch. I know they have his number retired.
30 years.
How does that make you feel? 88, I think. It was 80. I think in their late
30s. 30 is what?
89.
89.
Actually,
Oh my.
Doing math. Facebook Live. So I wonder how often Shaq comes to. So Eric Taylor chimes in on our Facebook Live. He says, "I wonder how often Shaq comes to San Antonio just to eat at Lulu's."
Whenever he comes to San Antonio, you can find him at Lulu's when he gets here. He loves some Lulu's.
Yeah, that's I did not know that. Yeah,
he loves Lulu's. That's one of his favorite places.
So Shaq, one of the greatest ones, of course, of all time. From San Antonio, if people from Facebook did not know that he was here for his final 2 years in high school. It's pretty impressive stuff. But yes, Cole High School is in the state final four. The Steel boys team is in the Final Four, and Wagner is actually back in it. They've been in the Final Four for the past couple of years, come up short in 6A.
They got to pull a Judson. They got to pull a Judson.
Wagner's been knocking on the door, trying to, kind of get that state championship for the Wagner boys. Steel, I believe this is the third trip there to state for the Steel Knights.
So good luck to all those guys. So, how cool is that? That many teams from San Antonio.
And really, it's a home court advantage. In a sense, because those, you saw the fans from Kerrville, the fans from Converse, the Judson. All those fans were down here in droves to watch those teams play.
When does spring break start? Does it start next week? So you had nothing else to do.
When does spring break start? People
just go to the game. Go support these kids.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So
all right.
So we got the Spurs on a roll. We've got the Commanders on a
On the road?
On the road.
Yeah, the Commanders are on the road.
Three local high school boys basketball teams trying to follow up what the girls did, win a championship. So
also want to mention Antonian won the TAPS title. So yeah, we got some good hoops going around here, man. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Hey, Spurs got to keep up.
I know.
That's what they got to do. There we go. Put the pressure on the Spurs to perform after all these high school kids out there showing you how to do it. All right,
guys. Well, thank you very much for being with us on Facebook Live. Annette Dominguez. She says, "Good morning, Mike." I don't know who she's talking to.
Mike?
Michael Stray? I don't know who she's talking to. But Annette, thank you very much for
talking about that linebacker over there.
Yeah, there you go. All right, David, any final thoughts?
Tomorrow night's the Spurs and Hawks. Go Spurs, go.
There you go. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for being with us.